Thank you so much for joining us on Dwellynn Show. I'm your host, Ola Dantes. I've got the incredible Ekaterina and Dwellynn with us today. How are you guys doing?
Doing great,
Doing
Ola.
great.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
Double,
you.
yeah, double deal. I think this is the second time on the podcast, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. You guys have a very remarkable story, so I can't wait to jump into it. So maybe you guys kind of tell our listeners a little bit more about who you are and kind of what you've been up to lately.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'll
Dylan, you
start
want
off
to
and
start?
give the abbreviated version of my story getting into real estate investing. I'm initially from upstate New York. I grew up in high school working on construction sites throughout the summers. And while I was always working hard for $10 an hour, I remember always looking and saying, I want to be those guys, the guys that were sitting back with the t-shirts on, watching over us, and they were the developers, right, who were really making the bulk load of the money. So that was my initial inspiration for getting into real estate. And then fast forward years later, I bought my first rental property at 21 years old, currently 26 years old, and quickly jumped into multifamily. Over the last 4 years, I've worked on about 50 million in multifamily projects as a lead sponsor or JV partner. And we'll get into how Ekaterina and I formed Equity Tree, which is our newest venture. It's a technology, it's a software platform that's designed to be able to help other operators that are growing their business in the space.
Yeah. And my name is Ekaterina Stepanova, and I'm originally from Moscow, Russia. And while I was in preparation to the podcast, I was just looking over at your background, and you see you an immigrant as well. And you beat me by $50. So you came in here rich. Came here $180. I was 130.
Yeah, a little bit richer, a little bit. And now,
Look at that.
I'm sure you're doing a lot well with, but sorry, go on.
So no, you know what? That is always a great thing to see immigrants just coming to this country and making the best out of it, just really not wasting the opportunity. I'm looking at this as a huge chance. It's a huge blessing that you get to restart your life almost, and you can script it however you want it. So that was just a great thing for me. And I started my I did not know that it was anything when I purchased my first, it was primary residence at the age of 24. I thought I was so excited. And when I immigrated, I left it behind, so it became a rental. My mom became a landlord. My property management team, so to speak. And then once I was able, I started single family investing, and soon realized that it was not very scalable and a lot of risk involved. So switched to multifamily, so to speak. But my multifamily is in mobile home communities. So my team and we own, together in the partnership, it's 8 communities that are all across, United States, and that is what we enjoy doing. And we met with Dwellynn a couple of years back, just met consistently at various commercial real estate events. And when this project was born out of, so to speak, necessity for my team to manage our deals in some systematic manner and being organized, as we had multiple partners in various deals. So it was really too hard to maintain it, and we were looking for a good solution that wouldn't break the bank. Ended up starting it myself, and then there is always the need to have funds and investors managed, and Dwellynn was somewhat on a similar journey, so it was just only logical that we join forces and continue building it together. So that's where we are today.
Awesome. Yeah, no, something just struck me. I mean, I definitely want to go back to a bunch of questions, but we have a ton of investor management software. I know a bunch, right? I've met some of these founders at events. I don't want to say too many names, but there's a bunch of them, right? So
Mm.
why did you guys create, Equity Tree? Like what's so unique and different about this new software?
Mhm. Well, I think when you look at it, there are a number of them. And at one point, I was spending over $15,000 a year on an investor management software. And it seemed to only be going up in price as we did more deals and brought on more investors. So I think while there are a lot of them, there are not many of them that are truly accessible for someone that is earlier on in the business. So it's our goal to remain, we'll call it downstream in terms of our pricing and affordability levels to service newer investors. And then in addition to that, there's two areas that we emphasize on that I would say are a bit unique. Number one being the asset management side of things. We don't just stop once the money's raised. We emphasize quality asset management practices and tracking your actual performance versus your target or your budget. And we have a dynamic P&L tracker that rather than sending PDF statements out with a bunch of asterisks on that, you have something that's much more dynamic that investors can refer to in the portal, giving them more of a reason to actually use the portal in the first place, because many investors just don't use it as frequently as they should because there's not enough information in there for them to be able to see month over month. Number two, we have a platform where we're really focused on creating a community around the portal, right? And ultimately looking to inspire other investors to become the best version of themselves as they can, ultimately through going out there and knowing how to better brand themselves online, knowing how to better market for investors, present deals more effectively, and do some ongoing asset management. So we do a lot of ongoing touch points beyond just simply having the software in place.
What's the website for the software? Just folks can check it out.
It's equitytree.io.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I was trying to find it as we were talking. So that's interesting. Definitely, folks listening, check that out. So Ekaterina, I want to go back to you, right? You mentioned something really interesting. So, you came to the US with, a little bit of money in your pocket, and now, you're kind of growing your portfolio. If there's somebody listening to you, maybe they didn't come, with, into America, maybe they're born in America and they're just kind of looking to get into the game. What was the main thing that really helped you to kind of, grow so far? What would you say is the one thing that has really helped you?
I think the main thing is you gotta keep trying and doing, and you will fail, and it will be hard, and it's gonna take time, much more than you think or ever plan. You gotta go and fail. You gotta keep going and failing and growing, and just gotta keep trying. So that's probably the.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So, Dwellynn, you also mentioned that you bought your first property at 21 years old. That's pretty, I mean, we have some young listeners as well. How did you pull that off? Did you buy it for free? I mean, how'd you get the money? Like, give us the story.
Yeah, well, I took a different path, right? I mentioned I grew up in upstate New York, so I saw a lot of my family working on Wall Street and in the corporate finance within real estate. We weren't ultra wealthy or anything like that, but that was just a lot of times what you're surrounded by when you're in upstate New York and commuting to the city and going back and forth, right? And I saw that at a certain point I realized that that was not going to be the path that I wanted to follow. So as I was going to school upstate, I actually left school after 2 years when I was going for accounting and said, well, I'm going to get into entrepreneurship. And quickly that became, I'm going to get into real estate investing. So I started, as most people do with their entrepreneurial journey, all kinds of different businesses, right? We were doing whatever we could to kind of learn about the space, and one thing led to the next, and eventually I said, well, this real estate thing really seems like the real deal, and I'm going to really double down and focus on this. So I actually bought a one-way ticket to California with about $2,000 saved up, and I didn't know what I was going to do, where I was going to work, but I knew I wanted to get into real estate. And I remember posting on Bigger Pockets saying I'm young and ambitious and ready to do what it takes to get into real estate investing. And fortunately, this guy by the name of John Steele, he actually referred me to, he was from Buffalo, New York, also moved out to California. And he referred me to work at this real estate investment education company. So I was fortunate to land a job right before I maxed out my credit card, living out in California at an Airbnb. And I was around a lot of great mentors in that position. I was really blessed to be exposed to all different avenues of real estate investing. So I worked my W-2 as much as I possibly could to make as much as I could living there, and then eventually saved up the cash to buy my first one at 21 years old. So that was how that all played out.
What was the deal? Like, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the deal? Was it a commercial? Was it a single family?
It was a basic as it gets. It was a simple turnkey property. It was just, I think it was probably close to 20 grand down on the property. And it was just, out in Illinois, and very basic. I really can't say too much about it. I ended up selling it a few years later. It did okay. It was, it was about as much of a base hit as you can get, but sometimes you just got to get on base.
You just have to get started, right? That's really the goal, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really like that. And I do see those posts on Bigger Pockets. I am young, I've got energy, I want to do this. I say it all the time. So kudos to you for putting yourself out there. And you mentioned something really interesting, right? I'm going to jump to Ekaterina in a second, but for you, so, you work with this company and you got a mentor or mentors helping you. What would you say to somebody, maybe trying to do that right now and listening to this, and maybe they want to get on board, but they're just struggling to find a mentor? And if they do get one, how do you think they can add value? What did you do to help your mentors, or just kind of give us maybe examples?
Well, first off, I think it's showing nothing but sheer gratitude towards mentors and having zero sense of entitlement as far as what someone's going to do for you. I think the way that you're really going to find a quality mentor is by seeking to serve and by going to work for them, literally going to work for them for free. And it's actually harder than just saying, I'll work for you for free. You actually need to find something you can do to add value to their life. So I think you really need to be creative, and you need to be thinking to yourself, what can I do to add value? What kind of problems are they probably facing that I may be able to solve? And I think when you can really have that seek to serve mentality, it's going to pay off, right? In my case, I was working a W-2, so all I had to do was be the hardest working guy there for every day in and day out, and it was natural that they wanted to reciprocate, to spend additional time and help mentor me, right? So that was kind of my case. But I do get asked that question frequently: is how do you build connections? How do you find the right mentor? And I think it's a problem that there's not a one size fits all answer. It's just seeing what your strengths are. If you're great at talking to people, then call me and I'll give you a list of people to cold call. Ekaterina will do the same thing, right? We could always use someone to cold call more leads for us, right? If you're analytical and you already know how to underwrite, you've been teaching yourself enough, then again, dedicate yourself to focusing on the analytical side of things and solving a problem in that realm. If you're a badass marketer, then double down and learn how to market and help build out a social media presence, because there's a lot of people that are lacking one. So that would be my best advice.
Yeah, it's so good. Ekaterina, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I absolutely agree with Dylan. Get a seek to serve and see how you can add value before you get anything back. Really, if this is your situation when you can work for someone, pick the person who you really admire and see what you can do for them. There is really nothing else that will get you to your goal faster. Mentors are amazing. I was helped by mentor in the mobile home park industry for sure. I still receive so much help. That's the only way really to ultimately succeed, is your relationship, your network and connections. That's all you have. And yeah, if you want to get further faster, find a great person you can model.
And it also goes back to the whole idea. My dad used to always say growing up, if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's also one of those things, just being willing to ask for it, right? And being willing to get out of your comfort zone a bit.
Yep, I'm gonna immortalize what I'm about to say. I've got my mentee next to me, Michaela, and everything you're saying is everything I've said to her, and it's just really amazing. I've never met them before, by the way. This is all going on record. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Ekaterina, I want to get back to you though. So you had the single family, and then you went into multifamily, but then you didn't go into the fancy stuff, right? Which is apartments, and stuff like that. Why mobile home parks?
Well, I would say single family, that is so interesting. That's probably speaks to the point that you go and you just try something as basic as you can get. Dylan said it was turnkey. Mine was also turnkey. And when he said 20 some thousand you put down, for me it was 22,000. So we kind of starting, you notice the parallels. We all starting just this desire to get in, to try something, because as you get going, more will be revealed. So you just need to get yourself started. Start with basics. Doesn't have to be big and fancy. So and talking about failures and how you grow and how good things can come out of not so great things is, for me, I had 2 evictions in the course of 6 months in my little single family property, and then made me realize really quickly, one person out, one eviction, 100% vacancy. And no, I thought this is way too risky and frustrating for me. I better go multifamily. And as I was going multifamily, I quickly realized there is a lot of competition, and the folks are much more sophisticated. And for me to get myself to that level is going to take much longer. So I thought, okay, but again, I'm might not be the most patient person. So I thought, what could be my edge where I could find some advantage to my situation. So that's when I discovered for myself mobile home park industry. And it turns out that industry right now, it's of course very hot. Everybody's interested in it. Everybody's dabbling in. But the thing is, um, the thing is, it's still majorly mom and pop owners who are amazing to work with, in terms of they are so not spoiled with the attention, that when you call them and you need to do those things before you if you really want a good deal, do that, and they will teach you what you need to know about the industry.
Mhm.
And it was so much, the feel of it was so different and so attractive to me. I thought, you know what, I could relate to that, and that feels good to me. I feel like I could be doing this. These are people who don't judge me because they're mom and pops. I'm also solopreneur at that point. Then I got partners. So that's kind of, it felt right.
Yeah, no, and that's a good segue as well. I was going to ask you about partnerships, right? So you and Dylan, obviously, like you said, you were going to all these events, networking, and you kept seeing him, and like, okay, and then you guys obviously came together, and obviously, partnerships is that's what I do basically all day. You just have to have partners. It's just too much for one person. So what are your thoughts? Maybe Ekaterina, you can go first, and then Dylan on partnerships. What do you look for in a partnership, and what have you learned thus far?
Yes, sure. Well, partnership, I really enjoy partnership. I never thought I would, but when I started working with partners in the mobile home park industry, and and then um, and then I initially started the working on a platform, I always knew that I would love to have a partner work on this project together. So, and not every person who is skilled can be a partner. So this is not only skills game, but also it has to be the right fit. For me, I think this is you have to put yourself out there. You have to be talking to people, and you also have to see for me, the person, needs to be passionate about this, like have the same vision. Because if you have a big vision, it means you're going to work on this project for a while, which means you need to see things same way, and need to enjoy working with each other too. So you need to like the person as well. So this is the long-term relationship. Everything else, I feel like, of course, the skills, but you also need to know that you could find, like, if there is even some misunderstanding, or sometimes there are things happening and you need to discuss them. So you just at least need to know that ultimately you're on the same page and you can work things out. Yeah.
Dylan?
Yeah, I would say I would echo a lot of that. I actually I recently just actually kind of left a partnership a few months ago, so it's good timing to teach on this, as of course in that instance you always have a lot to reflect on and learn in those moments. So in to what Katerina mentioned about, number one, being on the same page with your goals and the vision of where you want to go is extremely important, right? Because everyone has different value systems and they're at different stages in their life. So if you're looking to achieve two different things, that's an instant no-go, right? It just doesn't make sense. Beyond that, I think it's sharing similar values in the sense of the things that you stand for, in the sense of being high integrity, having, say high standards towards things, being someone that is willing to, yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you're someone that's kind of like let's better done than perfect, and you're kind of okay like going out there and taking action, you want to be with someone else that's probably at least accepting of that it's not going to drive them insane if that's how you're going to be running the business, right? So kind of a similar value system in the sense of the little things, but at the same time, while you want to share values, you also want to be highly complementary in terms of the things that you're bringing to the table. And that's why Ekaterina and I think work well a lot of times, because we oftentimes are thinking very much on the same page about where we want to go long term, but at the same time, we're also sometimes, I'll be focused, my head down on product development one week, and then she's thinking about how do we create a community and like how do we take care of the marketing or something like that, right? So we have synergies in that sense, as far as the kind of complementary things, and I think I really believe that with a partnership, you can't be model replicas of each other. And that's why sometimes if you have like a best friend, that might not be the best partner for you if you're very, very similar, because in that case, you're just going to be doing the same thing all the time and playing kind of the same role all the time, unless you can really do that well somehow. But I kind of steer away from partnering with someone that is too similar to how I am. Like, I kind of know like my strong suits in a sense. And I'd say having people that, well, you share values, you share the goals, you're also complementary in terms of the way that you operate.
Man, I can just keep talking to you guys all day, but we're definitely dwelling into the quick rounds. These are going to be quick questions, quick answers. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
All right. First question. So somebody answers first and then second person. So maybe Ekaterina, you can go first. What makes
Probably Dwellynn will go first.
Oh,
She's like,
no, ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay.
Be a gentleman. First question. What makes you unique? What is that differentiating factor that separates you from the next girl or the next guy?
I think I'm so it's not necessarily a differentiator, but I think I'm I strongly believe that I better go and fail than never try, or will wait for my turn. I'm just gonna go for it, and then yeah, I'm just gonna go fail. Let everybody see it. Maybe they'll learn it. Maybe they'll laugh. Maybe they'll join me. But I'm just gonna go for it. That's all.
Yeah, you can go. You can
I
go.
would say in my case, I think I always say I'm a hybrid when it comes to being, whether I'm totally out in front of people or whether I'm in the weeds on the analytical side of things, I really believe that most people steer one way or another. And one thing that is unique about me is that I'm definitely a hybrid. While I really enjoy podcasts and public speaking and even like the sales side of things, I also really love being hands-on and like being able to switch into the numbers. So that's been just something I would say is unique about me.
All right. Second question. What was the last book that you read, and what was the one thing you picked out from that book?
The last one, I think, the last one I will tell you. Just Well, something that I really stuck with me. Of course, I'm checking my Audible right now, but I
No
really like
pressure. No pressure.
Habits by James Clear. That was a very recent book that I read, and I just really it really resonated with me and took a lot of pressure off me because I tend to uh, judge myself harshly um, if I set up all the multiple goals and not necessarily achieve them yesterday, but 1% better, just 1% consistent effort. So and his 90-day or something like that tracker, when you just consistently do one thing but consistently and rewiring your brain into this new habit cycle. I have it right there, right in the corner. I'm following. It's working. It's amazing. It's really changed how I do things. Highly recommend.
For
Dwellynn.
me, I read How to Invest in a Mobile Home Park for Business, Money, and Profit by Dave Rocher. So Dave's actually a contact that was introduced to me from Ekaterina. So ever since we've been working together, I think I've officially caught the bug for mobile home parks. So I've been learning a ton about the space, and having been in the apartment space for the last 4 years, I've seen that the cap rate compression, the space is getting tighter, and I think the mobile home park, as Ekaterina already mentioned, has been somewhat of a breath of fresh air in terms of there being more true mom and pop owners that we're getting in contact with, a little bit more breathing room on the numbers to achieve a solid return. So Dave's book was a great overview and something that I've been meaning to read for a few weeks now. So I'm glad I got to it.
Awesome. So you guys are definitely busy. You're obviously buying property, and then you've got equitytree.io. I just checked out the website. It looks amazing. So you guys are definitely busy. So what do you guys do for fun?
For fun, I would say, well, I enjoy. It's also my fun. It's my meditation time. I go for a nice run on the trails, and I would listen to me a nice audiobook or a podcast, not necessarily about real estate or mobile home parks investing, but it could be just something lifestyle, Tom Bilyeu, or maybe I could listen to Gary V's, or could listen to maybe London Real, something like that, just to learn something and at the same time find out what's going on in the successful people's world.
I like it. I like Gary Vee a lot. Dwellynn.
Yeah, I'm very similar in that sense. I just do, usually on the weekend, I'll go for a nice hike to reset. I love getting out in the woods or just out in nature. I think that helps me give my my brain a shower, a refresh, reset. So that's probably the biggest thing I'll typically do, getting together with friends or going out for a hike or something like that. And then, similar in the sense I do a lot of running on a daily basis, meditation, a lot of those things too, to just keep sane.
Totally agree. So if there's one of our listeners thinking, well, I like these folks, like, how can people reach out to you, get to know you better?
Sure. Well, they can definitely find us on equitytree.io, and our contact there. They can schedule a call even. Dwellynn does this consultation on fundraising as well. Find us online, LinkedIn, Ekaterina Stepanova, find there. Also, there's a MHP tribe group on Facebook. Yeah, come. I love meeting folks in MHP space.
Yeah, and you can find me on all major social media platforms as well.
Awesome. That is just, I like that, short and sweet. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much, Ola.
Cut.
Very
I
kind.
mean, yeah, my Zoom is already telling me how much of a cheapskate I am anyway. So I'm like, I would not give them my money. Damn Corona. I'm joking.
Took me a
Yeah.
while to cave. I finally caved.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Yeah. I
Took me a
think I
few
might
years.
too. I think I
Yeah.
might. Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. When this comes out, you're obviously gonna get an email from me or somebody from my team. And yeah, when you definitely get an email. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Really appreciate it.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
Yeah.
See you
Come,
guys.
yeah,
Bye.
reach out. We would love to, hang out on the virtual, at least for now.
Yeah. Definitely. Where are you guys based out of?
I'm in New York.
You're in New York, okay. And then
I'm
Dwellynn.
in Tennessee right now. Probably moving to Florida in October. So.
Oh wow, smart man. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Going to the sun.
That's right. You got it.
Yeah,
All right.
but thank you. That was really nice. Really enjoyed it.
No, same here. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Ola.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.